Leeway stood before the elderly men, his posture relaxed but unyielding. The room was loud at first, low voices rippling through the space as men questioned his presence, his timing, his authority. He did not interrupt them. He simply watched, his gaze moving slowly across the room until the noise began to die on its own. When silence finally settled, he gestured toward the screen behind him. Images appeared, faces of men and women, some young, some barely grown. The room shifted as recognition spread. A few men straightening in their seats, others turning their eyes away. Leeway spoke evenly, asking how many lives had been lost to preserve a legacy that demanded blood. He reminded them that these were not strangers. Many were their own children, trained to obey, sent to die, erased the moment they became inconvenient. He stepped forward just once. He told them he knew most of them did not agree with the system, that fear had kept them loyal. Fear of punishment, fear of losing the people they loved, fear of becoming the next face on the screen. His voice did not rise when he said he was not asking for permission. He was taking over. He spoke of his family, of watching them die as their home burned, of being left alive to carry the memory alone. 10 years had passed, yet the image had never faded. All of it done in the name of legacy and power. He ended simply. From today, the killings stop. Eastgate Group will continue, but without fear. No one will die for making a mistake. No one will be forced into obedience through blood. The system they protected ends here. Leeway held their gaze, steady and calm. The murmurs rose again, some voices resisting, others quietly agreeing. Leeway did not react. He remained where he stood, still and watchful, his gaze slowly scanning the room as if weighing every man seated before him. One of the older men finally spoke, his tone sharp as he questioned where Leeway's grandfather was. He asked why the former leader was not present if Leeway was claiming to take over in his place. Leeway's jaw tightened, his eyes locked onto the man, unflinching, as he stated that he was already taking over. Him standing there was proof enough. His grandfather's presence no longer mattered. Before the man could push further, the old man from the farm rose to his feet. He looked around the room and declared that he stood with Leeway, that it was time for things to change. He added that they were old now, and it was time to let the younger generation lead in their own way. Moments later, Sonny's father stood as well. He stated that he agreed, that the system had already served its purpose, and that it was time for it to end. The murmurs grew louder again, disagreement and agreement colliding as the noise rippled through the room. Then the doors burst open. Footsteps echoed across the floor, slow and deliberate, followed by a firm voice stating that Leeway was right, that it was time to end the madness that had taken so much from so many lives. Every head turned toward the entrance. Leeway's eyes widened. Standing there was Master Shen, alive, unharmed, steady on his feet. He looked untouched by death, as though it had never reached him at all. Leeway stood there, shock rippling across his face as his eyes locked on Master Shen. He had truly thought he was gone, that he would never see him again, and yet here he was, standing right before him. The urge to rush forward coursed through him, his chest tightening. But he held himself, forcing his composure as his gaze drifted back to the room. Master Shen stepped inside, his presence calm yet commanding. His voice cut through the murmurs of the room, firm as he stated that they might never get this opportunity again, an opportunity to have someone as brave as Leeway challenge what they had all been afraid to oppose. The room fell silent, each person digesting his words, thinking hard, eyes darting from one to another. Slowly, one by one, heads nodded in agreement, murmurs spreading that it was time for it to end, that Leeway was right. Leeway exhaled sharply, a weight lifting off his shoulders, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips as he realized he had finally done it. He had kept his promise to Amara, done everything without bloodshed, without risking himself unnecessarily, and his plan had worked perfectly. His eyes found the old man from the farm. A grateful nod sent his way, then shifted to Sonny's father, who returned the gesture. His gaze swept the room, searching for Master Shen, only to find he was no longer there. Without thinking, he bolted from the building, scanning the surroundings until his eyes caught the familiar figure standing alone by the lake. He rushed forward, lungs burning, heart hammering, and stopped in front of Master Shen, their eyes meeting. Relief and disbelief washed over him as he told him he was glad he was alive, that he had truly believed he was gone. Master Shen let out a soft laugh, telling him that he must have forgotten who he was, that it was impossible for him to die that easily. He stepped closer, pride radiating from every movement, telling Leeway he was proud, that he had trained hard, fought through 10 long years for this very moment. Leeway's expression shifted, darkening with determination. He wasn't done yet. There was one final thing he had to do, the last piece of his mission, the act that would ensure his family could finally rest in peace. He needed only one favor from Master Shen. Shen's eyes never wavered, listening, waiting for him to continue. Leeway told him that he would need him to do one final cleanup once everything was finished, without hesitation. Master Shen nodded firmly, agreeing, also offering an apology for keeping him in the dark all this time. Leeway stopped him, telling him there was no need, that the most important thing was that he was alive, that he had not died. He added that he needed to see his daughter, Momo, that she was one of the people most affected by the news of his death. He gave Master Shen one last look, a silent thank you in his gaze before walking away, leaving him standing there by the lake, alone in the soft evening light. Later that night, Amara waited anxiously at the hotel, pacing the room, eyes flicking constantly to her cell phone. Her heart raced, thoughts spiraling. What if something went wrong like last time? What if they separated her from him again? She dialed his number, fingers trembling, only to be met with the cold sound of it being switched off. Panic rose in her chest, sharp and suffocating. Without thinking, Amara rushed out of the room, her steps hurried, heart hammering in her chest. She barely registered the hallway as she moved, her mind only on getting out, on moving. Sunny, who had been checking out of her own hotel room, froze as she saw Amara step out of the room Leeway had been in. Her eyes widened, shock rooting her to the spot. Amara coming out of that room. What did it mean? Could she be his woman? Was she connected to Leeway in some way she hadn't imagined? The realization hit her like a jolt, questions and disbelief colliding in her mind as she stood there, unable to look away, trying to process what she was seeing. Leeway pulled over in front of his apartment building and stepped out of the car. His movements were sharp, deliberate, filled with resolve. He walked inside without hesitation and made his way straight to his secret room. Before he even reached it, his grandfather's voice echoed through the space, shouting at him to let him out, threatening him if he still valued his life. Leeway stopped in front of the cage and simply looked at him. He said nothing. His expression was dark, unreadable, as though the man before him no longer existed. His grandfather scoffed, anger masking his unease, stating that he had heard enough of this joke and demanding to be released immediately. Leeway let out a low laugh and leaned closer, asking him who told him this was a joke. He told him it still had not clicked yet. His time was over. He pulled a chair forward and sat down in front of the cage, his posture calm, almost relaxed. His grandfather warned him that his people would come looking for him, that it would be wise to let him go now while he still could. Leeway laughed again, this time colder. He told him he did not have people anymore. Everything was finished. It was all over. No one was coming. No one was even thinking about him. That was when his grandfather's confidence finally cracked. His voice dropped, trembling, as he asked Leeway what he had done. Leeway leaned in, his eyes sharp, cold, empty of mercy. He reminded him that he had warned him. When he came back, he would not come to talk. He came to end him. Leeway stood and slowly walked along the wall, his fingers tracing the surface as though revisiting a memory. His grandfather watched him closely, fear now fully visible in his eyes. He wondered what Leeway was doing, what he was planning. Leeway turned back and asked him if he had ever wondered why he chose this apartment the moment he returned to China. When his grandfather remained silent, Leeway told him the truth. The place had been prepared long ago. Gas tanks hidden inside the walls. One switch was all it would take to blow up the place. Just like the night his family died. His grandfather's posture stiffened completely. Fear took over. He shouted, telling Leeway he could not do this, that he did not kill his family because he wanted to. He said the family legacy came first. Power came first. If he had not done it, everything would have fallen apart. His voice broke as he pleaded with Leeway to let him out of the cage. He begged him to talk face to face, to fix things between them. Leeway did not respond. He only let out a small laugh as though every word meant nothing. Then he turned and walked away. Behind him, his grandfather shouted, tears streaming down his face, the reality finally settling in. He knew what was coming. Leeway made his way out of the apartment. The moment he stepped outside, his gaze dropped to the switch resting in his hand. He did not slow down. He did not look back. He pressed it. A deafening blast ripped through the building, flames erupting behind him as the apartment was swallowed whole. The fire roared, climbing higher, consuming everything it touched. Leeway walked forward, each step measured calm, unstoppable. Behind him, the fire roared, reflecting briefly in his eyes before vanishing. He left destruction behind, but every movement was silent victory, every step forward the closing of a chapter written in fire and resolve. Amara sat at the back of the Uber, her cell phone clutched tightly in her hand, her fingers wrapped around it as if willing it to come alive. She kept hoping for a call, a text, anything from Leeway. Each second stretched painfully as the city lights blurred past the window. When the car turned the corner, her gaze lifted instinctively, and that was when she saw it. His apartment, engulfed in flames. Her heart stopped. The world seemed to fall silent. Her mind went completely blank. There was no fear, no hesitation, no thought at all. There was only one certainty. She had to get to him. Her hand shot to the door, yanking it open while the car was still moving. The driver slammed on the brakes, cursing under his breath as the tires screeched against the road. But Amara didn't hear a thing. Her shoes slipped from her feet as she hit the ground running, sprinting toward the burning building without slowing down. Smoke burned her lungs. Heat lashed against her skin. Sparks floated through the air like embers from hell itself. None of it mattered. She was ready to run straight into the fire if it meant saving him. And then suddenly strong arms wrapped around her, yanking her backward with force. She struggled wildly, kicking and clawing, screaming that she needed to get him out, that she had to save him. A low voice brushed against her ear, calm but urgent, telling her to calm down. Her eyes shot up. Leeway, alive, standing there holding her, his arms tight around her trembling body. Tears streamed down his face, cutting through the soot and firelight. Her heart nearly stopped all over again. Relief crashed into her so hard it left her dizzy. Fear, love, shock, all colliding at once. He finally looked at her properly, the glow of the flames reflecting in his tear-filled eyes. His voice broke as he told her that he had done it, that it was over, that everything was finally over. Amara couldn't speak. She collapsed against him, pressing herself into his chest, letting him hold her as his sobs shook through his body. After all the years of waiting, planning, and pain, he had finally avenged his family. Her tears fell freely. She lifted her hands, wiping the wet tracks from his cheeks, her own voice breaking as she whispered how happy she was. She told him he was okay now, that he had really done it. They clung to each other as the building burned behind them, flames roaring higher as firefighters' sirens pierced the night and grew closer with every second. Smoke swirled around them, chaos unfolding everywhere else, but in that moment they were untouchable, locked in each other's arms, safe. A car rolled up quietly some distance away. Master Shen sat inside, his gaze settling on the two figures standing before the inferno. A small, proud smile tugged at his lips. He had trained him, guided him, waited years for this moment. Leeway had finally completed what he had set out to do. Shen moved forward silently, already preparing to handle the final cleanup, to erase every trace of the past once and for all. Amara tightened her hold on Leeway. He finally allowed himself to breathe, his body trembling as years of grief, loss, and vengeance poured out of him in silent tears. She rested her forehead against his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heart. For the first time in a long time, there was freedom. There was peace. The fire continued to roar behind them, but in each other's arms, nothing else existed. Meanwhile, Kai sat alone in a private bar, a glass of whiskey clenched loosely in his hand, the bottle on the table already half empty. He scrolled through his phone aimlessly until his eyes landed on old photos of Amara, snapshots taken during their fake dating, videos they had once recorded together. His gaze lingered on them longer than it should have. The smile that once came easily never appeared. Reality hit him all at once. He snapped out of it, stood abruptly, and stumbled out of the bar. Sliding into his car, he sat there for a moment, staring ahead, his chest tight. Without thinking, he dialed Wubin's number. When Wubin answered, Kai's voice came through heavy and unsteady. He asked how to stop it. Confused, Wubin asked what he meant. Kai's voice cracked, thick with emotion, as he admitted that he hated the feeling tearing through his chest. He confessed that Wubin had been right all along. He loved Amara. He loved her so much, and no matter what he did, all he could think about was her. Leeway looked at Amara, his hand reaching for hers, telling her they should go home. Amara's eyes drifted across the estate, curiosity flickering as she asked if he wasn't going to handle the situation at the apartment himself, as its owner. Leeway smiled gently, telling her that Master Shen would take care of everything. At that, Amara's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and relief as she asked if Master Shen was alive. Leeway nodded, promising he would explain everything once they got home. They slipped into his car, the peaceful night wrapping around them like a soft blanket. Amara's gaze lingered on him, noticing how light he seemed, how his shoulders no longer carried the weight of the world. She loved this side of him, the side that allowed him to simply exist without constant tension. When they arrived at the estate, Leeway looked at her and told her they should go inside. Amara hesitated, glancing around at the potential witnesses, the staff who might see them together. Leeway laughed softly, reassuring her that it didn't matter anymore. Finally, they could be together openly. He stretched out his hand, and after a moment's pause, Amara placed her hand in his. They stepped out together, the night air cool against their skin. Amara's eyes roamed the estate, taking in its size, its quiet majesty. She turned to him, asking if he would be staying here. Leeway moved closer, nodding. The place belonged to his family, he explained, and as the heir, it was his responsibility now. He added that if she didn't like it, they could adjust it, make it a more comfortable space suited to her taste. Amara shook her head, a small smile on her lips, telling him she was fine with it. Leeway took her hand once more, guiding her toward the house. Eyes followed them as they moved, whispers rippling through the staff. Who was the girl with Leeway? Were they together? Some murmured it was a shame, saying Sunny would have been better. Others simply stared, stunned. Leeway stopped, holding Amara's hand firmly, his voice cutting through the murmurs. The girl beside him was his wife-to-be. Heads turned, eyes widening at the announcement. He continued, declaring that she would be the madam of the house, joining the Lee family, and that he expected everyone to care for her with the same respect and dedication they had been showing him. The staff bowed, addressing Amara as Madam Lee, their voices quiet but respectful. She immediately shook her head, stopping them. She was not married yet, she said. There was no need for that, and they didn't have to bow. Everyone was equal. Leeway's lips curved into a small, proud smile, his hand reaching up to touch her face, praising her kindness. Without hesitation, he lifted her into his arms, carrying her down the hallway. Amara pressed against his chest, embarrassment blooming as she whispered that people were watching. Leeway ignored her protest, his voice steady, certain, reminding her that she was his wife, and he would give her affection in public, no matter who saw. They disappeared into the hallway, leaving the staff murmuring behind them. The maids exchanged glances, startled by the sight of their young master smiling for the first time. Their expressions shifted, surprise and irritation mixing as they whispered about Amara, an outsider. Yet she had captured the heart of one of the richest men in China. Some muttered their displeasure at being expected to serve her and call her madam of the house. With that, they returned to their duties, their murmurs fading into the rhythm of work, the estate quietly settling into its new reality.